So very good evening everyone. So very good evening everyone. I hope I'm audible and my voice is clear. So thank you Nirupama for the confirmation. Yeah. So exactly at 4 o'clock we'll go and head start. Yes, we'll start exactly at 4 o'clock. Just wait for a couple of minutes. Let others also join. So then we'll go with the streaming part. Yeah, very good evening everyone. I can see that people are just getting adding up. Once again, very good evening. Welcome back to the technical session of TechM programming. So now, in today's session, we'll be looking towards the technical questions which has been asked in the Tech Mahindra and which will be highly expected. So that basically we'll be seeing three levels of questions. One is basic level, second one is intermediate level, and the third level is advanced level. So let me go with the first programming question. And first we'll try to understand the complete agenda of the question, then we'll see the programming as well. So I hope I can go ahead now. Yes? Cool. So here is our first question. Now, so the first question is asking about calculate the total interest on loans for an array of amounts. However, till the amount of 2000 there is no interest applicable, but there is 20% of interest applicable for the remaining amounts in the array. Yes. So now the complete question can be solved by using the conditional based programmings. Yes, am I clear? Now when it comes to condition, the major condition is all about the amount which we have taken from the user, that has to be always greater than 2000. If that is greater than 2000, then only the interest will be applicable with the rate of 20%. Okay, so now we'll try to code it. So before I move to the Eclipse IDE, I just want to show that how do we code it. So no voice. Srishti, I hope it is clear from my end, right? The audio is clear. Just Give me a second, let me check once. Is my audio clear? Yes, sir. So kindly check with the connection team. Let me go back with the code first. Now, so basically when it comes to coding part, so this is a very simple code where we just need to write a code basic on conditional block. So first thing goes, we need to read an input from the scanner class. How do we need to read the input from the scanner class? Basically in Java there is something called as scanner. How do we write it? So just let me go ahead and show here. So we need to just use scanner sc is equals to new scanner. So I'll be writing only the essential parts here. System.in. So now, so basically we need to read the amount which is 1000 or 100 or 2000, that might be anything, but it was crystal clear that the input is of type array. So we need to read an input in the form of array. Whenever we need to read the input from the array, so basically it has to go with a for loop. So what I'll be checking over here in the sense, so every array has a fixed size. So firstly I need to read an input of integer, where I'll be looking into sc.nextInt, which is able to read the input of integer type, and that will be saved in n. Now simple job, I just need to traverse and read all the inputs from into the array. So basically the iterations will start with 0, so then it goes till n, then it reaches, when it reaches n, there it has to be stopped. Now how do we read this input is the biggest question. So where this all elements has to be saved inside an array. For that first we need an array, right? How do we add it? Any idea? First we need to create an array, so then only all the inputs will be recorded to it. So let me go ahead and do that. So basically immediately after this line, what I'll be doing in the sense, I will be creating an array which is named as ARR and which goes with a size of n. Now it has been created. Now whenever I am iterating, I have to read all those inputs, all of integer type. Now here, so already there was a code existing in the chart panel. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, then let me share the Eclipse IDE and then we'll go ahead with programming directly. I can see the interest you have here, so which goes very well. So let me share the Eclipse IDE. So once you're able to see the IDE, just let me know, okay? So that we'll go ahead and start. I hope you are able to see the screen now. So let me go ahead with the first program we have. So the first program goes in this way. The screen is visible. Yes, I can see the screen as well. Tell us any queries? No, it's clear. Very well. Now, so first let me create a new project. The new project I'll be creating here is tech m. So ensure that create module info is not has been clicked there. So let me finish this up. So basically we'll be calculating the interest, right? So let me think about class name like calculate total interest. Will that fine? That sounds good as well, right? So let me create a new class. Cool. Calculate total interest. Yes. Now the first thing goes over here is the scanner class which we need to include. So here I'll be just including the scanner class. Scanner SC is equals to new scanner. Now, so whenever I have created a scanner class object, it will be expecting an import statement. That import statement is import java.util. I can go either with scanner itself directly, or I can directly go with star. Cool. This looks fine now. So let me keep this as SC. First thing goes over here is I need to read an input. Can I say that as enter array size? Cool. Now, so once immediately that is visible over the screen, now we need to take an integer input, so that has to be saved somewhere. So I'll take int n sc dot next int, which will read the input type of integer. So till this it looks fine. Let me run once and just check whether it is going good or not. Now I'll be able to type 5 over there. So but we don't have any execution part over there, right? So then we need to create an array of size 5. Of 5 in the sense, which is nothing but n. So this size of array has been created. Now the second thing over here is we need to iterate and take the inputs from the array. So which starts with 0 and which has to end exactly at n. Now all this inputs has to be recorded into array, hence I'll go with sc.next int over here. Cool. Now the inputs is also available over here. So let me go ahead and check that whether I'll be able to give the inputs here or not. So if I run this, now I can say this as 5, then I'll be able to provide the inputs like 2, 6, 5, 7, 8. After that, if I try to type something, it is not allowed me to do that. Now the important job is just creating a method where the entire calculation is going to be happen. Till this it looks fine, right? Okay, let me go ahead and create a method which is of public static. So why do we need to make this a static? So even we can access this thing without having an object, as simple as that. Cool. Now I want to confirm here something first. Whenever I am calculating an interest, always it has to be of integer type. May or may not be. It might be of double type also, right? Yes or no? Sorry, couldn't get. Cool. Now of integer type, and let me name this as interest. The method named as interest. So now for this method, what has to be the inputs? Your array itself. So let me name it as A. Yes. So now the second part goes over here is how do we calculate the tax? So whenever I'm recording an array elements, the next thing goes is, let me take a tax value as 0 first, which is the initial value. Then whenever I'm iterating the elements, I have to ensure that the tax is being recorded over there. I'm not sure what's happening, just give me a second. Light part. Cool. Now So let me pass this information into the array first, then we'll get back and try to find the interest value. So what is the interest formula? Here we need to add the return keyword. That's the reason it is shooting an error. Let me type return 0 as of now. So whenever I need to add a value, I'll add the value. So just for our reference, I'll be keeping it now. Now, how do we call this method? No idea. Cool. Over here I need to call the method named as interest, and let me call this interest with passing array as a parameter. Now this entire array is returning the value, right? So if it is returning the value, that has to be recorded somewhere. So let me add that inside the output statement. Sorry, something has been happened. So ARR, sorry. Cool. Now we have just invoked the method. The now next part is all about building the logic. So when it comes to building the logic part, I hope you're able to see the screen, right? Will you be able to see the screen? No? Okay. So now, if I pass only this, how should I know that where I'll be exactly stopping that? So now I just need to get the length of this particular array, right? So to do that, let me keep int length is equals to a dot length, which is of array type. A dot length, it's a property, it's not a method. That's the reason you has to focus on what exactly happening over there. Now it's very simple job for us. Let me add a loop over there, so which will iterate through your array till I less than length, and which goes till this value. And when I'm doing this particular job, what has to be added? The conditional block has to be added. So whenever array of I value is greater than 2000, it has to perform something over there. Yes. So if not in that way, in a simple note, what I can do over here, in the sense, the tax is gonna be tax plus, I need to convert the value of integer into integer. Then I need to add array of I, which is a value we are having, which is multiplied with the interest minus 1000, which is used to calculate the interest value over there. Now whole value has to be multiplied with 0.2. Now this goes well for us. Let's see here, it is not ARR, it's A of I, because A is our integer value. Now immediately after this, you need to return the tax value. Cool. So this goes fine, and whenever you run this program, it looks well and good. So basically what I'm doing over here is I'm just getting the information of tax by using iterations over here. I'm getting entire tax, all the array elements tax over here, and I'm adding that into output statement. So basically just let's run this thing, give the values like 5 and keep it as 3000, 4000, 2,500 and 8,000 and 7,000. Run this, you'll be getting the interest of total amounts. So if the total amount is less than 2,000, it has to be revoked, right? So what I'll be doing over here now, in the sense, here I will be checking if array of I element is less than 2000, it should not enter into this loop. Simple. So that if and else part, I request you to join over there. So with this, the first job will be done. Now, hope this is very clear for you people. If you are very clear with this type, we'll go with the second part. Let me share the second question with you. Hope it looks fine, right? Yes. Okay, then let me share the PPT. Then we'll try to understand the second question. The slide. Quickly, let me erase the screen first. Have erased it. So let me go back with the second problem, where it is talking a very similar job. Write a Java code for returning the differences between the sums of even and odd numbers in an array of positive integers. So it has clearly mentioned that the array elements is of positive. So now you need to write the sum of even and odd numbers. So let me take an array. So I'll be taking an array of size 8. Let me go ahead. How many it will come? That much will take. 7 and 8 and 9. So it's an array of size 10 where you'll be having 10 elements. Let me fill these elements with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and 2. Okay, so these are the elements I have. When I'm asking about even and odd, it's as simple as that to find even and odd, right? Sum of even and odd. So what is even number actually? If array of I is exactly divisible by 2 and giving the remainder as 0, so that goes with even. Or odd? Else part. If whatever comes after this, everything goes with odd. Now we need to find the sum of all the evens and all the odds. So how do we build the code is the biggest question here. It's as simple as said. Firstly, we need to take the elements, and that elements is as similar as the previous code we have. So we need to read an array elements from the user itself. After reading it, again same thing, we need to pass the same array elements into the method. Then that method has to return difference between even and odd. So if we are ready, we'll just go ahead and start building the code right away. Can we go ahead? Cool. Yes, it looks brilliant. Then let me go ahead with code directly. I'll share Eclipse ID, just give me a second. Over here I'll be sharing the screen with you people. Now the first one is already done. I hope you are able to see the screen. Let me create a new class which finds a difference. So that's the reason I'll go the class name as difference itself. Difference. Okay, so over here same thing goes as similar to the previous code. First we need to build a scanner class. I'll be using the scanner class immediately, and the scanner has to take the input from the user. Now immediately scanner class comes into picture, the error comes into picture. So the import statement is mandatory over here. Once this is done, and why we are moving with these similar questions which is based on array in the sense, so in our TechM, so the quite common question which is repeatedly asked is array based questions. And of course, if you go ahead and look back towards a past 3 years, the questions based on data structures plays a crucial role as well. So array is one of the data structure we have. So that is why we will be moving, we will be seeing 2 to 3 examples on arrays. Then we'll go ahead with a different data structure part. Cool. So till that, just go ahead and build this logic now. So now first thing goes here is same, just entering an input. So if I want to enter an input, enter size of array. Now the size of array goes to be an integer. So let's go ahead with int n is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, so till this I hope clear. Now sc is not a variable, right? A scan is a variable, that's the reason scan dot next int. Till this it goes good. Same job. So what we have done earlier, we have created an array of size n. So why only n? Because that many elements are existing inside the array. So array has been created. Simple, read the elements. Till which element you have to traverse. So in the earlier case we have seen something called as till the nth element, right? The same thing I can write something like this: a less than arr dot length. And then the increment has to be added. Even this looks fine. This will also work. Now the entire array elements has to be readed, right? Array of I is equals to sc dot next int. Now we just need a method which returns the value of even and odd sum difference. So basically, how do we calculate sum in the sense? Let me write over here. So take a variable in the comment itself, sum. So initially I'll keep this variable as, okay, let me keep this as even sum and odd sum. So that will be helpful. So if I have even sum, earlier I'll make this as 0, and if I add even sum plus the array element which I have now, any array element, so the entire elements will be added to even sum. Similar to that, odd sum I have to find. Odd sum also same. Odd sum is equals to odd sum plus array of I. Cool. Now let me create a method, public static. It will return of integer type, because difference cannot be of float, right? Until unless you will have a float inputs. So it's very simple. If it is a float thing, at least we just need to typecast it. So as we have done in the earlier case, if I take the earlier case, there is something called as typecasting over here into the integer type. Same thing we'll be doing over there. So now the next job is name it. I'll name it as diff. So which take int arr and which returns difference, which is an integer. So let me declare that int difference which is initialized as 0 earlier. Cool. Now still it is shooting an error. Just check why it is shooting an error. Cannot make a static reference to a non-static field, so make this as static. That goes well. Now the two variables we need is even sum, which is declared as 0, and int odd sum is equals to 0. Cool. Now the thing is, we just need to iterate an array and we need to find the elements. So iterate an array from 0 till n. Now see that n has not been declared at all. Cool. So we need to find an n. So let me add n here. The other way of doing the same code, let me add n over there. Now the error has been removed. So let me call the method over here. So method I'll be calling is difference, so which will take two parameters, which is nothing but array. Here it has to be scan. Now so arr is our array name and n is nothing but n itself. Let it keep two things. Now it is taking the two values, but again here it is showing an error. Just this method return a result of type integer. Cool, we are returning an integer value itself, right? Okay, let me take this off, then we'll add afterwards. Now so the basic thing over here is need to find which element is odd, which element is even. So to find that part, array of I modulo of 2 double equals to 0, that is nothing but even. So the even elements has to be added into even sum, right? So now I'll be writing even sum plus or equals to array of I directly. What do you mean by it? Even sum is equals to even sum plus array of I, and the else part what we need to do, it has to be odd sum. So let me add odd sum plus or equals to array of I. Cool. Now the thing which we have to return is what we need to return? The difference between odd sum, even sum and odd sum, right? How do we do that? Let me take off this for a while and add a difference here. Int difference is equals to even sum minus odd sum. And this way we can do it. Now if I do this over here, you need to think that what will be happening, where the difference is getting updated. So instead of taking an extra variable, we can directly do this as well. Return even sum minus odd sum, which is of type integer. Now this will be returning an elements. So let's go ahead and check that whether this is working fine or not. So let me run the code first. So I'll be taking off these comments as well, which is not required. Let me take an array of 6. We added, so I'll go with the sequential elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now so which elements will be even here? 4, 6 and 2, right? So the total is 12. So 12 minus 8, which has to be 4. But if you notice one thing, just check 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, 12, 5 plus 4 is 9, 12 minus 9 is 3. Of course, we are getting the output as it is. Okay, so tell us if you have query, just let me know in the chat panel. I hope this goes good now. Cool. So this is the second part. Can we use buffer reader is a question. Of course, it depends on the question, the question format what they had provided over there. So let's try to understand one thing over here. So basically the question format will be like the entire description of the question will be given, and with sample inputs and explanation will be provided. Now, apart of all these things, you will be having the console window editor window where you need to write the code with any one of the programming language. Here we'll be looking towards Java. So if you're comfortable with any other programming languages, it's suggested to go with that. But ensure that if they haven't provided anything there, you can go with a buffer reader, you can go with console, you can go with scanner. If they have mentioned something clearly like you need to use scanner, then there is no other go. At the learning stage, scanner class is very comfortable. That's the reason I'll be going with the scanner class. Now we will move back to the third question. I hope till this it goes fine. There is a question from any other questions we have? Cool. Now let me share the next question. Hope you found the screen now. So the next question goes over here. Write a program to return the difference between the largest and smallest numbers from an array of positive integers. So the basic logic over here is positive integers. How do we find a positive integer? That's the question here, right? How do you get to know that whether the number is integer or not? No idea. Need to think about it. I'll be looking for your replies in the chat panel. I couldn't see anything over there. It goes same actually. Whatever we are doing so far, it goes same. But how do you know that which one is the smallest and which one is the largest? It's, I think, the complicated topic as per your analysis. I don't know how do you fetch it, but we have a fantastic way to do this. Okay, so to find the smallest and largest, let me talk about two things. Let me write about largest and smallest over here. Now, assume that we have assigned both these variables as 0. 0. Now whenever I am doing this job, I have 0 in the sense the first element. Yes, but if you want to reach this, again we have to confirm one more thing. The array length has to be more than 0. So that is a basic condition. Now this value has to be updated whenever you are iterating to each and every element, and even this value has to be updated. How does we do that? In the sense, if array of I is less than smallest, then the smallest has to be updated with array of I. Cool, simple condition. And the same way, if array of I is greater than largest, then the largest value has to be updated with array of I. So you found the largest and smallest. Now can't you find the difference between them? Can't we do that? We can, right? So let me go ahead then. Cool. Let me share the screen with you people. So 1 second. I believe that you can see the Eclipse IDE. Cool. Let me create one more class. And I'll name it as findDiff. Yeah, wish you can name it as in any way. So I'll be going with my comfort, findDiff. Now the same thing we'll be doing here. First, let me write a scanner class. So immediately after doing this, the next job is all about importing. So it's clear. Now we need to read how many elements are there. So which is nothing but a size of an array. And every time n we are mentioning, let me go with size this time. Now, so before reading this input, if you want to add an output statement, enter number of elements. This looks good again. We need to iterate. Excuse me. Yes. So it starts with 0, which ends at size, and it has to increment till a certain level. Then we'll be reading all the elements of array. Cool. So why it is shooting an error is the biggest question, right? So just go ahead and check that we haven't declared array anywhere. Obviously it has to shoot an error. So that's the reason it will be shooting an error. Now, so let me go ahead and create an array first. So with array of size what? Size number of elements. That goes fine. Now we have read the input. Now we need a method which returns cool. So is my screen visible? I just got a notification that there is an interruption. So the chat window is empty. So Hadid Zahra is thinking that, sir, if you want to find the largest, we need to arrange them in the order. That's brilliant idea, to be honest. Not visible. So Nirupama Kari. So yes, can somebody let me know whether you are able to see the screen or not? So right now I just got a notification, so I was just cross verifying it. Okay, few people are able to see, few are not able to see. So the people who are not able to see the screen, kindly check with the connection and try to follow the session again. So the streaming will be going on. Cool. Now, so the major part is all about finding this difference. So to find this, as we know that large is one variable which has been assigned as array of 0. Similarly, we have one more variable which is nothing but small, which is also array of 0. So why I'm not moving to sorting in the sense, so whenever you sort something, of course it will take big of n log n time complexity. So the time complexity is also a major part based on the constraints which has been provided in the question. So we will be moving ahead with the coding part. So I'll be moving with the easiest part which everybody will understand. So hope you'll understand this. Cool. Can I? Good. So let me go ahead and start with iterations, where I'll be traversing int I is equals to 0 and with starts till array dot length, and it has to iterate till this value. Now when I'm going through this values, I need to check that the larger has to be updated with the largest and small has to be updated with the smallest. So I will be providing the condition over here. If small is less than array of I, which I'm iterating right now, what has to be done? That has to be updated. Small is equals to array of I has to be updated. Else if what will be the condition? Large has to be see one thing, the current element is always going to be array of I, right? So that thing we have to check, array of I is less than small. That goes fine. Similarly, array of I is greater than large. Cool. So then we need to go with a large is equals to array of I. But beyond these two things, there is something. If length of an array is less than 0 or less than or equals to 0, what you will do? We need to return 0, right? This is not gonna work. Yes or no? So we have missed something really important over here. So before this part, if array dot length double equals to 0, what has to be written? Simply return 0, or otherwise this thing has to be followed. Now you will be finding a large and small. So immediately after the for loop, you have to return the difference between them, large minus small, which is gonna be the value. So with that, error is still showing. Okay, it is of type integer, that haven't been included. Now it will be done. Now we will be getting the value of large and small. I hope this works fine. Just go ahead and check. Cool. I'm just adjusting few things over here. Now, so we didn't call this method at all. We need to call the method, right? So to call that method, over here I will be calling, what's the name, diff, followed with parameter, which is array. Now it returns a value that has to be recorded. So let me run this thing. Now enter the array elements as 0, enter. So that it is returning 0. So now let me run one more time. The values will be like 5. So the values I'll go with is 20, 80, 40, 85 and 100. The difference has to be 80. So it is clearly finding the largest and smallest among the variables and it is returning those values. Hope this works fine. So if you people are clear, then we'll move ahead with the next one. Yes, Sinchita, as you said, that has to go with large greater than array of I, and I have been added that and it looks brilliant. So far we have been able to solve 3 important questions which has been asked in TechM itself in the previous years. Brilliant. So now I hope you got a confidence that you can solve the questions which has been asked on the arrays. Now I'm not gonna do anything. Now if they are asking that find the difference between the all prime numbers which you have in your array, will you be able to do that? Prime numbers, of course, right? It's as simple as that. Just iterating through the array elements and finding the prime numbers, and then you will be finding the output over there. Will that be complicated? I don't think so, right? No. Now let me go with the next question we have on the screen. Just let me quickly share the screen for you people. This is like, I believe that at TechM the screen is visible now, the PPT. Yes. So let me go back with a new question which is there with us. So this is the next question. Of course not a complicated one. We just need to try to find the measurements. So the mathematical information is very important over here. One thing, 1 inch is equals to how many foot? So that's a question mark here. So when you are aware of 1 inch is equals to what, then you can easily do that what exactly we are speaking about. So they are telling that given an array of integers representing the measurements in inches, write a Java program to calculate the total of measurements in feet. 1 feet is equals to how many inches? May I know in the chat panel? May I know in the chat panel? I couldn't see yet. No idea. So 12, 7, cool, it's going fine. 12, 12, 12, 12. Brilliant. So whenever you are aware that 1 foot equals to 12 inches, they are clearly telling that give the output in the format of foot. That is what they are asking, right? Check. Ignore the measurements that are less than a foot. For example, 10 they have said. That means the restrictions are applicable clearly. So the input may be in the form of double itself. We can do that as well. So can we go ahead and do that? The input might come in double also, right? Can we go ahead? Brilliant. Then let me share the screen. I believe the Eclipse is available. New class. So I'll name this class as measurement. What's the spelling of measurement? Just kidding. I hope I'll go with right spelling itself. Cool. It's going good. Not till the last moment, whatever we'll be reading, everything goes fine. So I'm not stressing more to explain all these things. So I'll be quickly adding up the code over the screen. Or if you people are able to find the logic, tell me the method first, then we'll go back to input type. This time can we go with the double? And we'll name it as total feet of foot. Otherwise we can name it as total itself. Why we need to give big names over that? And which has to read an input called as array elements again. So the method has been created. Now inside the method, what is the major part we need to do? First we need a variable which needs to save the entire information. Yes. So to do that, int, can I name that as total feet is equals to 0. Okay, double we are moving now. So let me make this as double itself. Double 0.0. Well, it goes fine. Now, so the return statement also has to be double. So finally I have to return the total feet itself. So can I write return total feet? Yes, that's brilliant. Now on every iteration I have to check the arrayth value is greater than or equals to 12 or not. If that is greater than or equals to 12, then I need to add those things in the method. Now once after doing that, the inches to feet conversion has to be done. So where you're gonna do this inches to feet conversion is my question. Will you be doing that in the method itself? That's a question, right? So the basic logic we need to add over here is simple. This has to take an array elements. Now the total part is all about iterating. When we are iterating, what has to be done? So we will be checking that array of I is greater than or equals to 12. If that is equals to this, total feet has to be updated. Total feet has to be updated, and that has to be saved in total feet again. Now we'll be returning total feet over here. So let me add the other parts as well. Scanner s is equals to new scanner. Now the import statement is missing. That's the reason we can see the error on the screen. Cool. So the error has been removed. Sorry, still it is showing that. What will be this? An anonymous class cannot subclass the final class scanner. Okay, let me remove this part first. This is a blunder. Cool. Now, so read how many elements we have. Before that, we need to add, give the input, give the number. Now let me go with int n is equals to se dot next int. Cool. So we had read that, then traverse from 0 till n, right? So then it has to increment till this value. So this is where you'll be finding array of I is equals to se dot next int. Now you had read all the inputs, but again there is a mistake. There is no array named as ARR, so it is requesting you to create one. So this is where we'll be creating a new array of size 5. Cool. That looks good. Now the next part is all about getting the information from that, so which is getting saved somewhere. So let me take off in this way. I will take a new variable, so which has to be of type double total inch is equals to sys out and which method will be calling there? The method named as total, which takes array as an input. So this returns a particular value and that will be saved in total inch. Now why is this error? Just check. Type mismatch cannot convert from void to double. Okay. So we'll do this in a different way. Just give me a second. So let me take out this for a while. So this is returning the value. So my question is, as per the question, if I'm not wrong, write a Java program to calculate the total of measurements in feet that provided in inches. How do you convert this into feet? Ignore the measurements that if less than 10. It's crystal clear they are telling that you need to return that in the feet. How do we do that? The small includings has to be added over there. Think and let me know. Cool. I couldn't see any reply over there. So basically, if you want to convert, what you are going to do? Every 12 will become 1, right? Is there something which will give the quotient as output? So far we have seen the remainder as output, right? Is there something which we give the quotient as output? So divide total by 12. That is brilliant and cool. So there are 3 people who answered it. Remove method. Now let me add this thing to double feet. And let me paste it over here, so which returns the value. Now the thing is, we need to convert entire feet into this. So this is where you will be trying to find the output in the format of inch. Let me give the number as 8 and let me give the values like 12, 16, 18, 10, 12, 15. So exception in thread main and index 5 out of bounds for length 5. So actually we had provided 8. Sorry, my bad. Here I have provided 5. Here it has to be n, right? Extremely sorry for that. So at the static, at the compile time itself, I have given the size. That's the reason for shooting an error. Now let me go ahead with the values like this: 12, 15, 18, 14, 10, and then 15 again. So that has been returned the value. So we haven't added 8 values yet. 6 we have added. Cool. So 12 again, 4 again. So the value we are getting is 7.166. So we need to avoid 4 and we need to avoid 10. So rest things need to be added, and that has to be exactly divided by 12. So this is how we'll be printing the values whenever we are working with the measurement part. So there is one more question which is very similar to this. So I'm not going to touch that part right away. Now there is a question which might make you to think. So let me share that question. So till this everybody goes good, right? Everything goes fine till this? Yeah. Megraj, I hope. Well, let me share the presentation to you people. Just give me a second. I'm not sure where. Yes, here. The presentation screen has to be updated. Hope you are finding the screen right away. I believe that screen is there. Cool, the screen has been modified. Now, so the question which we are looking is this. This is not a big deal, to be honest. Let me explain the question part alone so that you'll be able to code this thing by yourself, which is not a complicated one again. So write a Java program to calculate the total billed tax amount for a list of billing amounts passed as an array of long integers. Up to the amount of 1000, there is no tax applicable. Okay, first thing goes over here is when we are traversing, we need to check that the input is less than 1000 or not. If it is less than 1000, the tax is not going to be added into it. Subsequently, a flat tax of 10% is applicable for the remaining amount as per the tax rate. Cool. Note, all calculations and results should be integer based, ignoring fractions. So they clearly mentioned that every value has to be of type integer, need not to be float or double. So the question has been provided with a constraint now. Now you are expected to write a code in the cal total tax function. The function name also they have provided. So by using this function name, which will receive the first parameter as the number of items in the array and the second parameter as array itself. You are not required to take input from the console. Brilliant. It is telling you are not required to take input from the console. That means user input is not anymore required. Okay, let me solve this, okay, which looks fine to be honest. The clear instructions has been provided, so that's the reason I'll be telling that we need to follow the constraints as it is, and we'll try to do the coding over here. Can we go ahead? Okay, so just give me a second, let me share IDE again. Now I believe that IDE is available with you. Excuse me, sorry, my bad. Can we go ahead? Cool. Calculate bill tax. I'll create a new class named as, because the constraints has been provided, I'm solving it. Otherwise I thought that you can solve it. Calculate bill. This looks fine. Now inside the main method they are clearly telling that you no need to take the input from the scanner part. So what I'll be doing, I will be going with int n, the total number of inputs I have. And one more thing, I need to pass this as a parameter, right? The length of an array. So that's the reason I'll be moving with this particular thing. Similar to that, now I will be creating an array which is with long values. That is what they have requested for us. So which holds the values of 800, 1200, 1500 and goes with 900 at the last. So these are the array elements we have. Now this has been need to be provided with to a method. So that method I'll name it as calculate tax. Sorry, what they had provided, they have provided a name, right? Just give me a second, let me check. Calc total tax, total function tax. Yes. Calc total tax is a method they are telling. This needs to take two inputs. One is n and one is the array we have. Cool. So this is taking two things. Now this method needs to be provided over here. Public static, and what values has to be returned from this method? What type of values? Integer or double or long or something else? They have clearly tell that no fractions, right? So can I go with this? So which needs to read the two inputs? I will read the input n and I'll take array. Till this it goes fine, and this is my bad. Here I need to close this. Now, so the return statement has to be added. So where this entire tax will be saving, int total tax I can say, which has been declared as 0. Now let me add the return key statement as same thing. Now first thing goes is, whenever the value is less than 1000, we are not supposed to add a tax to that. So that again we need to iterate. Yes or no? So while iterating, the condition goes over here. So array of I has to be greater than, only greater than or equals to 1000. Always it has to be greater than 1000. When it is 1000, then the tax which we will be paying is 10%. So to do this thing, so let me add a tax over there. First I need to calculate the tax rate if it is greater than this only. So I will name it as int tax is equals to, so what will be my value of type integer, no matter what value will be there, that has to be converted, and that I'll make it as bill amount in 2000. It goes fine. Now you might have a question that, so where we have bill amount? Simple. So if it is there, array of I will go in this way itself, which is comfortable, array of I, which needs to be subtracted from 1000 parts. Now the last thing has to be, what is the tax? Tax is of 10%, so let me name it as 0.1. So then it goes cool. So the entire amount has been saved in tax. Still it is shooting an error. What is that? Type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. That is the reason typecasting has been added over there. No need of this. Cool. Now the only thing is, this amount needs to be added to the total tax part every time inside the loop. So total tax plus or equals to tax. Now we'll be getting the entire tax amount, and that has to be written over there, and this is not recorded outside the loop. So can we put the same thing inside the loop? Can we put the same thing inside the loop? I'm asking, can we cut this and keep this over here? Cool. So that is working fine. Now this is returning some value, and it has to be saved in some particular value, right? So can I name that as int tax is equals to this value? What it is talking, the method cal int tax and the type calculate bill is not applicable for the arguments int and long. Now here the value has to be of type long. Sorry, I didn't notice that from the earliest. Now print the output, which is nothing but tax, which goes well, and just run the code and check whether it is running or not. Cool. So the amount of interest has been added, and that value goes with 70. I believe that it's clear. Let me check how many got this. So the constraints are very important always. Remember the constraints. The constraints plays a crucial role. So right away you're not able to think what exactly the constraint is. But once you have started this, then you'll understand what was happening over there. So in the examination, always believe that the constraint part is very much important. Can we go ahead? So there is one data structure question we need to solve. So before moving to that particular question, let me solve one more thing. Can I show the easiest question which has been asked so far? No, we'll go with the complex one. No worries at all. Okay, let me share the PPT again with you. Where is it? Slideshow, yes. I believe that screen is available. Now, the most complex question has been asked. This is simple. You will do it, write a program to find the difference of two numbers must always be positive. So this thing is very important, which has been asked plenty of times. Am I clear? So can we go ahead and check this part? So this will take a time. So I need your complete patience over here if I want to solve this particular question. It is not as simple as that. Can we go ahead? Okay. So before starting, just let me know that how many of you are aware of infix, postfix and prefix, which comes with the data structure part. Infix, postfix and prefix, which comes with a data structure part. No idea? Yes, there are a few people are there. Okay, let me go ahead and start with a basic expression. Now, I will write. Okay, let me speak about expression first. Where's the screen? Over here. A plus B. If any two operands has been enclosed, not enclosed, has been, okay, how do I put it across? Just give me a second. Sorry, my bad. Cool. Just assume that you have two variables which is existing towards left and right of an operator. Okay, I'm not talking about only this. Let me take this value. Okay, in this way. See, this is also expression. So there are multiple operands and operators. Now, if there is a mathematical operation which is happening between two particular variables, that goes as an expression. Now, this expressions has to be of various types. So before understanding what is an expression, what is the infix, what is a postfix, what is a prefix, let me clear the screen and write all the important things over here. Now, so there is something called as operand. Okay. Now, when I mean an operand, operand goes with A, B, C, D, E, F, anything, any variable, or number 1 or number 2, any variable can go as a operand. Now, operator I am speaking about. When it comes to operator, so the operators are addition, so multiplication, division, modular division, addition, then subtraction, then brackets. All these things goes with operators. Cool. Now let me keep A plus B. Okay, the operator is between the operands, so this can be called as infix. So let me erase the screen. Infix. Similar to that, we have something called as postfix. Postfix in the sense, when the operator has to come after the operands, can I say this? These kind of expressions can be called as postfix. Brilliant. Prefix in the sense, before the operands, prefix. As simple as said. Now the question is, the infix expression will be provided. You have to modify that to the postfix expression. If this is provided, you need to modify that to this. Brilliant. Now, there are certain rules to be followed. What are that rules to be followed? The first thing is all about, you need to know about the precedence of operators. So the precedence of operators goes in this way. Let me write rules. The first one is precedence of operators. The star and division has the highest priority. Then plus and minus have the lowest priority. And the XR will always have the highest priority we have. Brilliant. So now, so what has to be done? So how we are going to solve this particular question in the sense, we will be solving this question by using the stacks. And why do we need stacks? A stack is a data structure where you can push an element or pop an element which is at the top. Cool. So to do this, the second rule is, if I assume there I have a stack over here, for example, if there is star, the immediate element should not be at division. That means no two operators of same priority can stay in the stack. Now, third rule is, let us assume that I have star over here and I need to push a plus. Just assume this is a scenario. Now the lowest priority is plus, right? The lowest priority cannot be placed on the highest priority. That's the third rule. Lowest cannot take place over the highest. Now, if any operand will be enclosed within left parenthesis and right parenthesis, that has to be popped. If this kind of scenario comes, this has to be popped. So these are the 4 important rules, and by using these 4 important rules we'll be solving the question. So I request to not miss this. The rules to solve this particular program is, precedence is very important. You need to know the precedence of the operators. Then you need to notice 3 of the rules. No two operators of same priority should be placed in the stack, and the lowest priority cannot take place over the highest priority. And the last but not the least, if an operator will be enclosed within the parentheses, that needs to be popped from the stack. And let's go ahead and check that. How does this work? Let me erase the screen first and let me take an example for you. So this takes a time. Be patient towards the procedure. So the input I will be taking is A plus B followed by C into followed by D plus, okay, let me do this, C minus F. So let me keep in this way. So all the parentheses has been perfect. Cool. It looks fine now, right? 3, 4, 5. Yes, good. Now, what I'll be doing here in the sense, 3 important things you have to notice. Whenever you find the symbol, then only the push and pop operations has to be happened. So I need an empty stack. I need an empty string. So let's assume this entire input as a string. So they had provided for you a string. Now you need to convert this entire string into a postfix string, which is nothing but this. Let's see how does the conversion goes. To achieve this, I'll be moving to 3 things: symbol followed by stack, this followed by the last thing is expression, I can say, which is nothing but a postfix. What is the first rule? Whenever you're traversing, when you find a particular symbol, that has to be recorded and has to be pushed into a stack. So now let me keep a stack over here. Okay, the first element in the stack is this. I've pushed it. Now the expression goes with A. In the second case, you found A, which is not a symbol, so that has to be added or appended to postfix. Brilliant. Sorry, I shouldn't do this. Just give me a second. So the iterations will go wrong if I do this. Brilliant. Now the first element is done. Whenever I found that is happened. That means I have created a clear conditional block with symbols like this, 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 and this. So I need a conditional block which reads this particular symbols, and that allows me to push something into the stack. Cool. Now in the second case, I'll be finding A, and still the element in the stack is this, and the element in the postfix is A. Now I will be finding the plus part. Cool. The plus part is a symbol, so that has to be pushed into the stack, and the plus will be placed upon this. Brilliant. And now still this goes with A. Now I will be finding B at the third iteration, and B is existing over here. Still the stack is having a plus, and the B goes with A and B. The expression will goes with A and B now. So now immediately the next case is finding the symbol again. The symbol is this, so needs to be added into the stack, and no need to add over here. So the stack will be going with this. Now we have C, it still this, and the information goes with. So let me do one thing. If I want, okay, no worries. Better to keep in this way, right? Okay, just give me a second. Can I keep in this way? So these are the stack elements we have now. Can I do this? This looks brilliant, right? Mostly. Cool. You're comfortable? Brilliant. Now let me add A, B, C over here. Now just give me a second. Now after A, B, C, the next element we have is star. So just think about the star. Will it create the complications? Will it create or it won't create? That's the question. Will it create the complications? Why these many parentheses? Just a small modification. Give me a second. So let me make this as division. So division is missing, na? Then only the complications will come. And this parenthesis is not required. Cool. Now let's check if the division needs to be, okay, last line I'll be last two lines I'll eliminate. So from there we'll follow up the procedure. So till B has been pushed, that is done. So from B will take place again. Sorry, pardon me for this. Now let me take this as B. So you'll be able to find this. The next element we have is division. So the division can goes over here. Of course, right? The smaller operator cannot be placed. The larger can be placed. So I can say A and B still. Now we have C. A C won't goes with here. A, B, C. So now the next part immediately we have to think is star. So I found star. Okay. If I want to push this to this star to here, it will become same level. So that means firstly I need to pop this element. So I will be popping the element called parenthesis, so that the first operator in the postfix operation has been included for us. Cool. Now immediately after popping it, in the next iteration I will be having star. So I need to add star into this, and still it goes with A, B, C and this. Till this it is clear. Now immediately after the star, let me follow back here. So the code will be interesting, to be honest. You will find this code really good. Now immediately after the star, the parenthesis you found is this. So I can say that you have this, this, this and this. Now the postfix expression is A, B, C followed by this. Till this everybody is clear. Now you will be getting D. Whenever you get D, so the D has to be added into the stack directly, so no complications will arise. Then immediately you will find plus. So plus has to be pushed. So plus has been pushed. my bad. So this is plus, not an multiplication. Just to let me do this, and I will be keeping A, B, C, D. So till this everybody is clear, till the plus operation. Cool. Now again C we have, so C needs to be added into the expression DC. This goes good. Now the next thing is minus. Whenever we find minus, if I add a minus over here, so both will become same. So this element has to be popped. So if this element has to be popped, that needs to be added somewhere else. So that is A, B, C, DC minus. Cool. So this element is no more. Now again we have still minus only. Minus has to be pushed. So I can say that minus is added over here. This goes good. And still it looks same, A, B, C, DC minus. So till this everybody is clear. Sorry, plus has been popped, right? Minus. And now the next element immediately we found is F. So I'm not gonna add F directly, I'll be adding it here. So F iteration I'm skipping it. Then I'll be finding the closed parenthesis, which is of this type. Whenever I found closed parenthesis over here, the element has to be popped. So minus will be appearing here. So then we have the left alone elements, that is star and plus. Cool. The star and plus has to be added. So when it comes to the next part. So with that we can easily say that this is the last expression which we found from the postfix. Okay, the last expression which we found is this. Now to build this particular logic we need to write a code. So how do we write a code over here is the biggest question. So let me go ahead and start writing the code. So the explanation is clear. So postfix to infix to postfix converter we are doing. Very important question and has been asked plenty of times. That's the reason I'll be just waiting on this. Till this everybody is clear, na? Go ahead. So let me create a class. Which this code plays a crucial role. So listen. It's a simple one again. We don't need to think much about this. Infix to postfix. Or we can name it as converter itself, right? Converter. Now this converter class needs to take an input which is of string type, and if it has to take the type of string input, so where do we need to add it? So first we'll come with the main method. So the expression we need to add, right? Cool. So let me write in this way. The given string infix is equals to, so tell me a string which is good, A plus B star, sorry, one second, C minus D. Now C minus D, well, it goes fine. We'll add division as well. Cool. So now this has to be converted to the postfix expression. If I want to convert this to the postfix, first I need to find the string of postfix, and this method needs to get the value from some other thing, right? So I can name it as convo, which is a method which takes infix expression as the input. So if I want to pass infix expression as the input, I will name it as infix, and which is gonna be the value over here. Now I need the method named as convo, which is of integer type. Sorry, what is it? String type. String convo. So which returns null right now. Let me keep it as null. Okay, now that value has to be given to the postfix expression. Now the next job we need to do is where do this conversion takes place and how does it takes place. The first thing goes is whatever the string you have, that string needs to be converted as a stack. And where do you do that and how do you do that is the biggest question. Cool. So basically this conversion takes place in two levels. The first level we have is we need to take a string as an input that has to be saved in some or other way, and there you need to create a stack. Cool. And that entire stack has to be popped, pushed. So this operation has to be taken consequently. So in that way we'll be adding all these things. So to add all these things, let me do a basic job. So for this you need to know about string builders. So let me go ahead with this, and this needs to take an string value. So let me name it as string infix itself. That looks fine. Now so the first thing goes over here is we just need something to save the postfix. String builder I'll go with, so which has a own append method. So postfix I'll go. So this needs to be a new string builder. So something, a string builder with an empty value which I have created over here. Now whenever I have a string builder, is it shooting any error? Nothing. So no need to worry. Now let me create a stack value which is having a characters in it. So this is something called as generics. So let me name my stack as stack itself. Now so new stack needs to be created. Cool. Now we need to iterate and tell that whether that is an operator or not. Okay, so now this is shooting an error, so import statement has to be added. So I'll be importing stack over there. So once it is done, we need a method which iterates through these elements and tell that whether the given elements are characters or not. So let me go with the for each loop where I'll be taking char ch as a parameter. And now the next thing is we need to convert entire values into array. Yes or no? We need to convert. So I will be converting infix dot to char array. Now the entire elements has been converted into to char array. Now the first case goes over here is I will be creating a statement, and in that I will create character dot, there is method called as is. So why do I need to go with character? Will that fine? Cool. Is letter or digit, and I have created and I passed this as a parameter, so which will be checking these values. Now inside this, if this character is some a letter or digit, what has to be happened? Letter or digit means A or B or C or something else. So this needs to be added into the postfix expression. So the postfix expression is string builder. So I will be doing postfix dot append with ch. Now So the entire elements will be getting appended over there. Else if, so what has to be happened in the else if part? So if not this, there are something like parentheses. There are plenty of parentheses, right? Open, close, many things are there. Whenever you found open, it has to be pushed into a stack. So if it has to be pushed into a stack, what has to happen? So that's a question mark. So whom will be checking? ch is equals to, if this is an open parenthesis, so directly it has to be pushed. So why it is not reading this now? So basically this has to return true value, right? So double equals to is the condition over there. So I will be pushing stack dot push of ch. Now the first parenthesis will be existing in ch. Similar to that, in the else if part, all the conditions has to be added. Each and every condition has to be added. So how do we add these conditions in the sense? So let me add this next one, where you will be finding the close parenthesis. Let me find a close parenthesis. If you found this, so firstly you need to check that whether stack is empty or not, and stack.peak is a left parenthesis or not. Why? Because we know that in the comment I'll be showing here, if this comes, that's fine. In between this something is there, that's not fine, right? So to avoid this case, here in the else if part we will be checking while stack not empty na, stack dot is empty. Cool. This is a one condition, and stack dot peak has to be something which is very familiar for us. Peak in the sense topmost element I am talking about. Now the stack dot peak has to be what? So which will be the condition? So already you found open parenthesis, right? So can I say in this way, not equals to close parenthesis, sorry, open parenthesis. So whenever this thing happen, what has to be done? So you need to pop the element, and the popped element has to be added to the string. So which is nothing but append operation I will be talking now. Postfix dot append of stack dot pop, I can say. Cool. Whenever I found something which is in between these two things, that needs to be popped, and that has to be added to the append part. So with this we have just crossed one particular level of it. Now if this is not the case, what has to be happened? Inside the while execution part, it's already done. If the stack is not empty and stack.peak is equals to something, so directly we need to pop it. So let us assume that in the else if part itself there's gonna be one more condition. So let me do over this. If my stack is not gonna be empty, cool, so there is something called a stack is empty, and if stack.peak is different, so there is one more case, right? We have avoided only one case. What if this is the case? This is equals to this, in the sense what has to be happened? Something has to be happened. So whatever you are popping, so that needs to be completely popped. That means whenever a direct, So why it is shooting an error over here? Double quotes. So directly you need to pop from the stack. So where does it goes? Pop from the stack directly, simple. So we don't be required that anymore. Now the other else if part is all about finding the characters. Is operator or not, and when it comes to is operator we need to check the precedence. So till now we haven't seen the operator's precedence. To add that particular portion, let me add the else if condition over here again, else if part, and in this else if part I will be providing something like is operator method, so which finds whether the given thing is an operator or not, and if that is true it has to perform something while stack is not empty again. Okay, if this is not empty and get precedence is there is something called as get precedence. So to find get precedence we need to add get precedence method, so where you will be getting the precedence of a particular character. Now if these two things are, if this thing is less than or equals to get precedence of stack.peak. Stack.peak is all about the topmost element, right? If this is the case, what has to be done is a question. So very lengthy condition over here. So now get precedence and is operator of the methods which is not existing. If this is the case, simple postfix dot append stack dot pop. So whatever you're popping, that will be added into a postfix. With this we will be concluding something like what is coming from the while case. If not, we need to push the elements into this, and where do we are gonna push the elements into the stack is the biggest question again. And how do we do it? So immediately can I say that stack dot push has to be happened after this. Let's ch which gonna be placed over here. Let me take off return. Okay, not return. Let me add a different method over there which is gonna be really important again, and which iterates through the loop. While what needs to be added in the sense, in the first case stack is not empty in the sense I'll be checking two things: stack.peak whether it is an open parenthesis, or stack.peak whether it is a closed parenthesis. Why do we need this in the sense, whenever the imbalance parentheses are there, we can easily say that invalid expression. That can be seen, right? So stack.peak is equals to the open parenthesis or in the same way stack.peak is equals to a close parenthesis. What has to be happened there in the sense return invalid, which is a string. Cool. So otherwise, instead of returning this, can I see the entire postfix which is of character type now has to be converted to toString? That can be written. Cool. Now what it is showing, the method convo string is undefined for the type converter. So here I need to pass infix, and that goes fine. Okay, we'll try to modify this in a while, just give me a second. Now the two methods which we need to add over there is very much important. One is like precedence one, and one is to check the character or not. So let me create a character one, which is going to be the important part now. So the method which we have over here is this. So I will be taking this static, and now one second, boolean is operator. So this takes some value there and it has to return something over there, right? The value which will be taking here is, let me name it as char ch itself. And now, so that has to be updated with the return part. So what has to be returned? So return, will there be any condition for us? If the character is any one among this, it has to return that particular thing, right? So let me add in this way, which is the easiest way of doing it. So one is plus. So next goes with the different values. Let me add all those values. So how many symbols we have? 4 only. So 4 will goes fine. Cool. And the separators has to be added. Let me add the separators alone. So this looks good, and it returns the character or not. Once it has returned the character or not, the second thing is all about getting the precedence. To get the precedence, we have a method named as get precedence, and that is returning either true or false. So based on that, we'll be working over here now. So let me create a method name as static int get precedence, so which takes something as an input. What it takes as an input? The char which is returning from operator. So let me name it as operator. Okay, now it has to return something, and when does it return? So basically, let me use switch case for this. Operator I'll be giving as input, and this needs to be checked with the cases part. So let me keep it as case plus. So if it is a case plus, what has to be written over there? Nothing. Case, let me add the cases first. Minus, if this is the case, what has to be written? I'll return 1. Now, so we don't have a break keywords here. Let me add case. Multiplication is also there. So this goes in this way. Now the last part is goes with case division. So let me complete the code as quickly as possible. The time is running out, and return 2. So with this, the return keywords will be existing over here, and if not, all these things return -1, which is not belongs to any of these parts. Now till this we are very clear, and the convo is not getting recorded over here. So why does it's happening? And let me make this as infix, and let me make this as infix over here. So the postfix is a string which we have, and that needs to take the entire output part. How do we're gonna do that? What is the mistake? Just let me check. Everything goes fine except this part. So it returns a string, and it's not conco, it's convo. My bad. Now the entire output will be provided over here. So if I print postfix, will that be done? Cool, and let me run the code and just check whether it has been converted or not. It's running. I hope it's still running. Just give me a second. Sorry, I haven't shared the screen. My bad. I'm extremely sorry, guys. I didn't notice it. Just give me a second. Okay, let's take the code part alone. Take a look over here. I've done the coding, but I didn't notice that I haven't shared the screen. My bad. So just check out this. It starts from here. It's a very lengthy code, so I'll keep it. You just take it over here. So the postfix to infix conversion. So very simple job. I've taken the input and I've passed that input over here, and I will be reading that input here, and I've created an empty string builder and empty stack. Firstly, I'll be checking that whether the given thing is easy letter or digit. So based on that, I'll be appending to the postfix, which is nothing but a string, and then immediately I'll be checking the characters are there or not. Then I'll be adding. That means I'm pushing and popping back. So my bad. So let's check out the code alone. So if you need this, I hope I can share if I'm not wrong. Code is not shared. I'm extremely sorry, I didn't notice as well. I was just completely involved in typing this, so I couldn't do it. I hope the session is very helpful for you people and you have learned the important aspects. So make note of this question, and of course you can just build the logic as per yourself. Why? Because you are very clear with the explanation part, and I believe that you can do it from your end, and I request you to do that also. So that's all. Let's meet in the next session. So that's where we'll be learning few more questions regarding the session. Cool. Fine then. I'll be taking a leave. Please resolve the screen prop for better understanding. So Ranjit, what it is all about? Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. So I will be just unhighlight this. Cool. So take this part along, which is a coding, and now the second part will be over here. Now the third part will be over here. So this is the code for this. Thank you so much for the brilliant session. I hope the session is very useful for you people in the upcoming drives. And let's meet in the next session if possible. Thank you.